This channel focuses on travel, lifestyle, and what else do we focus on? Guys, erase that. What do we focus on in this channel? Hi guys, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. My name is Julie Hamati and this channel focuses on travel, fashion and lifestyle. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so, and also tell your friends about this channel. I also have an Instagram page where I post my recaps on my experiences, travel, lifestyle. So feel free to follow me. I'm very happy to have as many followers as possible. So, on today's video, we are going to talk about being a brand ambassador. I really hope this video gives you some value and you also get to learn from my experiences. So, let's do this. Woo! I have to psych myself up. Yeah, it's not easy to do these things, but here we are. So, let's get into it. So when I joined campus, I was always looking for opportunities to get money. And at one point, I came across an advert on Facebook where they were looking for individuals who can do brand ambassador jobs, like the promotions. So I joined a group, and then on that group, they would post every week the different gigs that they had. And because most of them were around alcoholic brands, I was very hesitant to take those opportunities. But one day I was like, okay, let me go and see what these people are talking about. I really needed the money. So out of curiosity, I went to town. At that time, I remember that agency asked people to go to town, and they just selected people randomly to do the promotion. So that's how I got into promotion. My first gig, when I went to town, I was able to share my experience. First of all, we were told that as you come to town, we do not guarantee that we will give you the job, but just dress well, like wear black pants and black shoes. For most brand promotions, you will be asked to have those two items. So you must have a black trouser, a decent black trouser, and comfortable black shoes. So I went to town. At that time, I remember the brand that we were promoting was KC. I hope you guys know what KC is. Basically Kenya Cane. And I was like, okay, at that time I didn't drink alcohol. So I was like, I'm just here for the money, and let's see how this thing goes. So I remember I was paired with a lady called Cindy. And Cindy had done brand promotions before, and so she was really good at that. And I just felt comfortable or confident being with her in the same outlet that we went. So with brand promotions, you have to be willing to talk to people. You have to smile. You have to explain to the people about the brand and all that. But you remember, like for me, my entry point, I did not have an opportunity to be trained before I go to the outlet, because I think this agency needed people urgently, and so they didn't have time to train more people. Or maybe I think the people who had signed up to come for the promotions didn't show up, and so they were looking for other people to join that promotion. Other entry points for me for brand promotions were also through interviews. So I remember at that time when I was in campus, from time to time there were different interviews that were being held by different agencies. So I would just go to those interviews, and then for the interviews, basically you'll be asked things like, sell me this pen. Okay, I don't have a pen, but basically they tell you, for example, I'm a client, I'm coming to the supermarket, sell me this phone. So the interviews are really short. You have to be confident in yourself. When you're going for brand promotions or activations interviews, dress well, look nice, get there early, because so many people go for those interviews. So if you don't get there early, you will be asked to go back home. The other challenge with those interviews at that time when I was doing them, light-skinned girls had higher chances of being selected compared to dark-skinned girls. And they were also looking for people who are a certain size. So that was a bit challenging. But for me, in as much as I went through those challenges at the interview process, I was confident in myself and I got some brand deals. I didn't get some of them. But what made me succeed in that space was when I got the first brand activation gig, I built relationships with the supervisor, and that way I was able to call for subsequent promotions. Also, you have to do a good job for people to continue calling you, because these are not permanent jobs. So if you don't do a good job, or if the supervisor doesn't like you, chances are you might not be in the next brand activation. If you're asking yourself, oh, so which agencies are these that give brand promotions, you can check out agencies like Meticulous Marketing. I really hope they're still in the game. You can check YDX. You can check Game Changer. There are a number of agencies that you can look out, maybe follow their pages and see if they're posting anything in regards to brand activations. I want to point out something. So for these brand activations, the amount of money that you're paid varies. So for some brands, you'll be paid 1,500 per day. For high-end brands, you might be paid 3,000 to 4,000 Kenya shillings per day. It just depends with the brand. Also, for me, when I did those promotions, I preferred doing alcohol activations, because those ones, the pay was a bit higher compared to in-store activations. In-store activations will be paid something like 800 shillings. And when I say in-store activations, these are like activations that are done maybe in the supermarket. I'm sure when you go to supermarkets, especially on weekends, you see girls who are promoting different commodities. So they ask you to taste, give your feedback, and then if you like the product, you sell them. So that is what is called in-store activation. For me, I used to do do I call them outdoor? I don't remember the exact word for that. But basically, for the alcohol brands, sometimes you would go to the supermarket. Sometimes you would go maybe to a bar, or like a wines and spirits, those kinds of places. So for activation days, if it's for an in-store activation, some do it from Monday to Sunday. Most agencies do the activations from Thursday to Sunday, especially for in-store. And then for alcoholic brands, you're likely to do activations from Friday till Sunday, because those are the days that people are going to these joints and social places. So for clothing, I have to mention this. I had mentioned a while back that when you're coming into activations, you'll be required to have a black trouser and maybe black shoes. Also, for some brands, they give you uniforms. So not for some brands, for all brands, you'll be given uniform. So for others, especially brands that are not super expensive, you are likely to be given t-shirts. For other brands, you're likely to be given maybe dresses or a skirt and a top. And the other thing that you need to know is for these clothes that you are given, especially the dresses, the tops, and the skirts, especially the matching sets, just know that sometimes you might be required to share those clothes with other people because these jobs are not permanent. So for some brand activations, once you are done with them, let's say on Sunday evening, you will be required to give those clothes to your supervisor for them to go and be cleaned, and then they'll be given to other people the next weekend. So this just depends with how long you'll be working for that agency, and also it depends with where the activation will be done. So I can just give an example. So for me, when I was doing a certain activation, there were people who would be given the dresses and there were people who would be given the t-shirts, just depending on the outlet that you will be going to. Also, some people don't show up for brand activations on the day that they're required to show up. So usually, because a replacement needs to be done, usually the supervisors ask those people to drop the clothes at a certain central position. The supervisor picks the cloth and then takes the cloth to the person who will be replacing the person who hasn't come to work on that day. So just keep in mind that if you're getting into brand activations, chances are you might be sharing clothes with people. So just find ways that work for you, especially if you know you are sensitive to sharing clothes. So how do these activations work? So basically, most supervisors will have people in a group, in a WhatsApp group, let's say, for example, and then they will post, for example, if there are activations that need to be done over the weekend, and they will say, we are looking for 5 people, and we will consider the first few people who will answer first. So first come, first served. Usually, if you're in that group, maybe you've already gone for an interview, but you are not selected for a certain brand, so they just put you in a group, so that in case any activation comes on board, they have people who they can reach quickly. So in that group, if you respond fast, then you get the opportunity to go and do the work. So let's say you are going for those bar activations. What you're required to do is get to the outlet early. Usually the supervisors drop the items that you need to be sampling at the outlets, so you don't have to worry about that. You get to your outlet, you set up. For some agencies, you'll be required to take a picture of the login, like when you get to work. So usually some activations, especially those that start in the morning, will start at around 11 a.m. and end at around 7 p.m. And then for the evening ones, they start at 4 p.m. and then end at 11 or at 12. So you need to be cognizant of the working hours. So when you get to your outlet, you set it up, take the login picture, send it to the group, and then you just start talking to clients. So basically, as a brand ambassador, your work is to create visibility on the product, and is also to make sure that clients or people get to experience that product. And then you also market to them. You make sure they sample the product, and then if they like it, you convince them to buy the product. Okay? It's a lot of work, and you need to learn all the tricks on how to talk to people, how to engage people, how to get feedback from people, because at the end of the activation, you'll be required to do a report. So for most agencies, you'll be given a template that you'll be told this is how you do the report, and these are the metrics that will be measured. So as a brand ambassador, it's upon you to make sure that you're getting feedback from the clients. So, for example, if somebody samples a product, then you need to ask them, so how did you find it? What do you like? What don't you like? Information is important for the agency because they will present to the client how the market is looking like. It's more of an analysis, and the client will know what to change about their product or what to improve or what people really love about their product. When I say client in this case, I mean someone who has contracted the agency to do the marketing. So I really hope that's clear. So usually, for example, EABL, I think you can check who EABL is, but I think everyone knows EABL. EABL can contract, let's say, YDX to do their marketing for a certain beer or rum or whiskey. Yeah, that's what I mean. Now, the challenges with these brand activations are, if you're going to do an alcoholic brand activation, chances are you will deal with a lot of drunk people. So you have to be wise enough to know when to engage and when not to engage. Just learn ways to create boundaries, because most of the time in the outlets, you will not be with your supervisor. Sometimes you will be alone. If you are doing, for example, a brand activation for a wine, you are likely to be alone. And your supervisor will just pass by to check if everything is okay. Because again, these supervisors are supervising around 8 to 10 people. So they have to go to all those outlets and check what's going on. Sometimes the outlets are far apart. So you can imagine, if you're a supervisor, the work that you need to do. The other thing, you need to smile and just create a warm environment for people to feel like you can approach them or you can talk to them. You have to be willing to approach people and talk to them. So if you're introverted, when you're going for brand activations, just pump yourself up and tell yourself that everything will be okay. Talk to people. They do not know you. At the end of the day, you will get your money. They will not even remember about you. You will have your report because you've asked for feedback from them. So push yourself to speak. The other challenge usually with brand activations is people will ignore you. So sometimes you'll go tell people, you approach someone, you tell them, hi, my name is Julie. I'm doing this brand activation of this product. And someone will just tell you, no, I don't have time, or I'm not interested. Some will respond, some will not respond. So just be aware that you will face all these challenges when you're doing brand activations. You'll also be required to stand for longer hours, especially if you're doing brand activations in supermarkets. Because in supermarkets, there are no seats. And I know most of you have seen how these brand ambassadors work. They are always standing the whole time. And you might find that you are standing, for example, from 11 a.m. to like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So have comfortable shoes. Be comfortable because most of the time you'll be standing. Sometimes you might make sales. Sometimes you might not make sales. But just make sure you are doing your best. Talk to people, try and convince them to try the product, even if it's just buying one thing. And people are always willing to try out new things, especially during end month. If you're doing brand activations during end month, people have money, so they'll be like, okay, let me get one and see if it works for me or not. So those are some of the challenges that you will get within that space. I forgot to ask. Also, getting these to mention, also getting these gigs is not easy. So when you get one, make sure you're building a good rapport with your supervisor so that they're able to call you for other brand activations. Or make friends with other brand ambassadors and they will tell you about upcoming gigs that you can go interview for, and that way you will get consistent brand ambassador jobs. So as a brand ambassador, I mentioned that at the end of the day, it's not just pushing the sales. You also need to do a report. When I was a brand ambassador, I noticed that some people had challenges with doing their reports. The reports are really not difficult because most of the time you're given a template. The template will ask you, for example, what was the opening amounts of, like, maybe the product that you're promoting, how many did you sell, how many remained on the counter. For the activations that I used to do are not commission based, so whether you pushed sales or you pushed sales and people bought or they didn't buy, you'll still get paid. But it's always nice to show your supervisor or the agency that you're doing a good job. So try your best to make as many sales as possible. Try your best to get as much feedback as possible. You can have a notebook where you just write down what people are saying about that product. That information will come in handy when you're doing your report. That way you make it easy for the supervisor to compile a report that they will share with the agency, and then the agency will share with the client. So just make sure that the report that you do is very comprehensive. So how can you be a good brand ambassador? For me, I worked as a brand ambassador for more than 4 years, I think. And what made me tick, or what worked for me, is I always was punctual to my job. I would make sure my setup is looking nice. I would do a good report, and whenever my supervisor would come to the outlet, I would just try and have a conversation with them. That way I was able to build a rapport with the supervisor, and eventually I got called into more and more brand deals. So just be open-minded when you're getting into this space. Be cognizant of the challenges. Don't let yourself succumb to certain pressures that you will meet within the brand ambassador space, because sometimes the supervisors are not nice. Some will ask for things that you're not willing to offer. So if you come across such bad experiences, just be wise and get yourself out of trouble. But brand ambassador is a really good job for people who are trying to get an income. If you're still in campus, this is a good opportunity for you to explore, because if you're lucky enough, you can be making about 4,500 on a weekly basis. So yeah, just be open-minded, get into it. You will learn a lot about yourself. You will learn how to speak to people. So it's a really good space. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share about my brand ambassador journey. And I hope you get to learn something out of it. I really hope to utilize these skills in my social media content creation journey. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope you stick around to see how that goes. That's it for our video today, and see you on the next one. Bye.